Thank you. Thank you. So before we start the session, can we have a round of introduction from the participants also, if that is possible?
Yes, sir. My name is Akshay Kumar. I belong to Lucknow.
Okay.
I have a 12 years of corporate experience, and right now I am into business. It related to the food industry. I manufacture ice cream at my Lucknow unit, sir.
Hi Akshay, welcome to the session.
Yeah.
Others can also unmute themselves and talk.
Swapnil, you can speak it out, and I think Ashish ji, Imran ji, yes, please.
Hi, sir. This is Imran. Sir, I basically belong to Jhansi, Uttar Pradesh, and I'm the founder of Evolver Agro. And right now, we are dealing into the manufacturing of peeled garlic, that is a perishable item. So, right now, I'm looking out into the manufacturing operations also, though we have not started yet. So that is the reason this supply chain management is quite crucial for us, as we are dealing on the perishable items, and we need to tie up with the farmers. And then, total backend integration is something that we are looking into. So that's what about myself. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Imran. Anyone else? Okay, no problem. So then what we'll do is we'll start the session, and then maybe at the end we'll have Q&A session separately. And there, I think if you can talk about your ventures, it will be more helpful for me to suggest some immediate remedies against the queries that you might have. So topic for today would be supply chain management for MSMEs and startups. So I'm sure that there are sessions which are already covered under the topic, or if they are not covered, then you have some idea of what basically supply chain management is about. It is basically um, uh, just the management of taking the entire value chain into the consideration for any final product, right? And how it reaches from the raw material stage to the consumer stage through different means and channels, and what all activities are involved in this entire process, starting from how to source, how to procure, then also storage is another aspect which is part of supply chain management. Then of course production, then post production storage, and then finally distribution, then distribution storage, and then logistics all together till the final goods reach the consumer, right? uh, so basically SCM will help you in identifying the how part of any product. Last time I had taken a session on uh, the value proposition for any startup, where we discussed about the why part, the what part, and here we will discuss that how you want to deliver the value which you are providing to the customer and through what means, right? So the best way of doing this for any MSMEs or startups, why MSMEs and startups actually require supply chain management is, number one, that you want to generate cost efficiency. You want to do things at a very cheaper price. You want to reduce your costs, uh, especially when you have financial constraints. When it comes to MSMEs and startups, it is very important that you keep in consideration that how you can control costs across the value chain. Then if you are able to do so, your the way you are delivering your products, or the channel which you are using to deliver those products, can also give you a competitive edge, right? So there are many companies which are doing this already, where the way they are reaching out to the consumers and the way they are ensuring the goods are reaching to any of the customers is how they are generating competitive advantage over their competitors. And then, of course, that if you have very effective and efficient supply chain management processes in place, then you will be able to expand your company also in a very easy manner. So if you have already SOPs in place where uh, you have laid down the groundwork for or ground rules for how to manage the entire supply of products, then you will be able to scale your operations very easily and also in a very cost effective manner. And finally, supply chain management also involves for MSMEs and startups the concept of risk management, because we have seen that during COVID or during any kind of calamity or any unanticipated event, we tend to depend on the stock which we already have. So how do we manage such uncertain times, and how do we mitigate risk is something which comes under supply chain management only. That how do you manage the disruptions and the delays which can be caused by external factors. So as I mentioned in the first slide itself, that the key components of supply chain management would include procurement. So this would be your process of whom you are processing, whom you are procuring your goods from, then what quality of procurement you are doing, then how are you maintaining the procurement quality, plus how are you maintaining the quality which you have already procured and maintaining it till the raw material reaches the production stage. So all of this would come under the procurement part itself, and at what price, right? So your entire uh, cost of goods sold, COGS, which we call in our balance sheet, is completely dependent upon your raw materials, right? So how, at what cost you are procuring your raw materials, and what best practices you are following to ensure that quality and cost effectiveness are ensured round the year for your raw materials, would come under the uh, ambit of procurement. Moving further, when we talk about production, once you have done the procurement part, when we talk about production, the phase where your procured goods are now, or procured raw material is now transformed into finished goods. So what kind of effective processes are there in place which will help you in ensuring maximum Yeah. So the production process would basically ensure that how you are maintaining the quality of these goods without compromising on the cost effectiveness part also. So both effectiveness and efficiency in production is what there are various concepts which can be used to improve the production. Then comes the distribution part, that once your final goods are ready, before you even start the distribution, how you are uh, storing these within the factory itself, how, what kind of SOPs you are following, what kind of technologies you are integrating to make sure that based on the kind of product you deal in, how you are able to store it so that the product, when it reaches to the distributors or wholesalers, it is in the same form as it was when it came out of production. And then the movement from the factory to the distributors itself requires a lot of effort. So that would come under distribution part. And finally, from your from your distributor to wholesaler to your retailers, or to your if you're selling it online also, your products, then even online platforms would become part of your distribution. Moving on, if you look at the final part, which is the logistics, this would involve the entire movement of the goods from procurement stage to distribution stage to reaching the end customer, right? So what kind of modes you are using when it comes to logistic solutions, what kind of you have, how you are controlling the movement of goods, and what all checks you are different stages. I'll give various examples also, that what kind of services and technologies are available when it comes to logistic solutions, and what kind of problems exist when it comes to logistics. So these are few challenges which startups and MSMEs usually face when it comes to managing their supply chain. So one is that they are short on funding. They have to work with very limited resources and funding. Then secondly, the workforce which is involved in the supply chain management is very scarce. There are very few people who are trained in procurement, who are trained in logistics, who are trained in production. And due to this particular issue, it is very difficult for an untrained workforce to understand the requirement of why we want to keep some SOPs intact, the standard operating processes intact, when we talk about all the four pillars of supply chain management. And then comes that, so there is a concept called Porter's 5 force model, where we try to assess an industry, where we look at the 5 forces in any kind of industry or any kind of market. It starts with the first force itself, which is the dependency on your suppliers, right? So if you have very small suppliers, usually it happens so that with MSMEs and startups, because they are working in a very niche segment, their suppliers, there are very limited number of suppliers. So how do we make sure that we are able to combat this issue? That is another challenge. And then comes the supply chain disruption. So as we have observed that now we have a digital economy across India. We are delivering goods via Amazon. We are delivering goods via IndiaMart without involvement of distributors, without customers having to check the goods and services with their own hands, with their own eyes. The goods and services are being delivered to them. So there are many disruptions which are happening. And how do we combat that as a startup or as an MSME? How do we change our processes, or how do we design the process of supply chain itself so that we are able to incorporate any kind of sudden disruptions in technology when it comes to supply chain is another challenge. And finally, the most important part is that how do you maintain cost efficiency, right? Because you're already on resources and funding. So how do you want to make sure that you are not incurring very high costs in order uh, to make the product reach the, right? So the solution for all these problems lies in various different concepts, and we'll start with the lean supply chain management. So lean supply chain management basically focuses on eliminating any kind of inefficiencies within the process and the system, and focuses upon optimizing whatever resources we have in hand, so that we have minimum inventory and we have very strong but easy to follow processes which can help in reducing cost and improve productivity, right? So there is an example like a small manufacturer may reduce waste by using just-in-time inventory system. So just-in-time is one kind of methodology which came into practice when Toyota entered the American market. That is how they started working in a very cost-effective and efficient way to combat the automobile market in the US. And uh, so basically, in just in time, you try to, uh, sorry, I think my, so in just in time, you try to keep your inventory to the minimum, and you start manufacturing based on the kind of orders you are receiving, rather than holding large inventories and depend on the forecasting itself, right? So that is how lean supply chain management works. The second concept which can help you with the challenges that you face in supply chain management would be related to the would be about agile supply chain management, where you try to create flexible SOPs, and your processes are designed in a way so that you are quickly able to adjust when it comes to any kinds of fluctuations in the external demand or any other external factor also, right? So this could mean, like, if there is any sudden change, let's say if there was COVID, then the way most of the milk or dairy product providers quickly responded to that issue through different kinds of strategies is how you manage your supply chain, given that there is very high change of trends when it comes to the demand for your product, right? Then comes the technology adoption. So I'll give a couple of examples as to how technology is playing a role when it comes to improving the supply chain management. So there is a huge issue of counterfeit products when it comes to lubricants, or when it comes to pharma industry, when it comes to uh, various other industries. So counterfeit products in itself, fake products or substitute products, are a huge challenge for any kind of industry. So there is a startup from IIT Kanpur, and this startup was started by one of the professors at IIT Kanpur. It goes by the name of uh, hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So it goes by the name of Checo. So Transpex Technologies is the name of the startup, and Checo is the technology or the brand under which they provide this solution. So what they have done is that any kind of product, they give a QR code which is basically three-dimensional in nature. And using that three-dimensional QR code, which can be applied on any kind of product, uh, only their algorithm on their app can scan that particular QR code. And because it is three-dimensional in nature, and the technology which they are using, the ink technology which they are using, uh, they they are themselves not able to replicate one QR code which they have created, right? So they use this QR code on different products, and they also track and trace solutions, their own products and their own services through these QR codes, right? So this is a kind of technological adoption which, if you bring into your systems also, then you will be able to better grasp the market which is right now captured by counterfeit products, right? Similarly, there are many cloud based platforms or data analytics tools and softwares which can to to track your inventory in real time. You can also check out this particular startup to get an idea of what kind of work they are doing and how they are doing it, right? Then, of course, another way that you can combat the challenges that you face when it comes to supply chain could be through collaborating with different kinds of other suppliers and distributors. And once you're adopting any kind of technological solution to resolve these challenges, you can also have your suppliers and distributors onboarded with you for that technology or for that solution, so that you are able to solve the problem not just for yourself as a manufacturer or as a trader, but also help your customers, your suppliers, your distributors in combating the same kind of problem. Like, for example, when HPCL tied up with this particular company which is creating this three-dimensional QR code, they sensitized all their suppliers and all their distributors, and they provided this application to them which they could use to scan the QR code, right? So because of that, they were able to identify the people who were selling the fake products to their distributors, right? So once you are collaborating with your entire value chain through which the product is reaching the consumer, you will be able to create awareness amongst them also, where they can provide you with data or they can help you out in through communication, that how you can improve your own supply chain. So benefits of having a system in place for any startup or MSME would mostly be related to cost savings and optimization, that once you have an effective supply chain solution in place, you'll be able to reduce your costs, whether it comes to procurement or it comes to production and also for distribution. Like for the example which I have given you for the QR code company, that same QR code company is now providing solution to Amazon also for tracking and tracing, and also identifying that if their own delivery partners are not tampering the boxes itself and the final goods are reaching safely to the customer. Then comes the customer satisfaction part, that if you are able to maintain product quality throughout the procurement stage till the distribution part, then you are able to provide maximum value to your customers, which will enhance their experience of staying with you for a longer period of time, and hence improving their their customer satisfaction and their loyalty towards your brand, right? Then if we talk about better decision making, then if you are using any technology or if you have integrated AI in your ERP where you are managing your inventory, then you will be able to receive insights from that system itself, where you will take better decisions and also implement just in time or any other process more effectively and more efficiently within your existing system. And finally, you are able to combat the market competitiveness by bringing maximum value to your customers, by reducing your costs and making better decisions to enhance your own performance as a company, right? So this is a brief case study of one of the companies which is into manufacturing of electrical products and how they managed uh, to solve a particular problem. So they were facing challenges in managing an extensive network of suppliers and dealing with inefficiencies in inventory management. So this particular case study, so the first case study I told you about technological adoption through the use of Checo was about the demand side, that there is demand for a product which is very high in nature and there are counterfeit products, and how do we combat these counterfeit products. So I gave you an example of Checo, and for the procurement side and for the manufacturing side, we look at this particular case study where there are multiple suppliers and you're dealing with all these suppliers, and there are inefficiencies in managing inventory, that sometimes you have to buy more from one of the suppliers and then there are discrepancies within the demand forecast, and there are delayed product deliveries because your suppliers are not supplying on time despite taking orders from your side. So how do you manage that, right? How did they manage that? We'll look at that. So one is that for their inventory management, they identified that they were doing a very poor forecasting of when they are going to get out of stock and what kind of trend is there when it comes to stocking of the raw material, right? And there were discrepancies in the production schedule itself. Then coming to the supply chain visibility part, there was lack of real-time data. So they were not able to track and trace that where delays are happening and what kind of supplier efficiencies and performance is getting, whether it is getting monitored or not. And then the cost inefficiency part, that because they were not managing their inventory properly and because there were supply chain visibility issues, especially related to their suppliers, they were not able to identify the fluctuations in raw material costs and transportation expenses, which were affecting their margins, right? And finally, they were their vendors from which they were procuring the raw material and parts. This led to a lot of delays because they were not very reliable, right? So they solved this particular issue through various different strategies. The first one was that they adopted a technology where they had put the entire supply chain on an ERP software where they were able to get a real time data of the inventory and what kind of uh, procurement delays are happening from which supplier, and they started rating those suppliers, right? So they use data analytics to also accurately forecast the demand. Then if we talk about the vendor and supply chain management, so they adopted just in time, which reduced their cost significantly, and they were able to procure only that much raw material which would help in fulfilling the demand which was immediately coming to them, right? So based on the technological adoption, they solved their vendor supplier management problem also. And uh, they adopted agile and lean principles which were related to the kind of positive or negative reinforcement they brought for their own workforce if there was less wastage. So if their own team members who were producing uh, the final goods, if they were reducing the waste for the company, they were able to incentivize their employees. And finally, they also started parallelly training their staff on supply chain management best practices, and they trained them on the adopted ERP also. So through this particular strategy, they were able to overcome all the challenges which we have seen, right? So they saw a cost saving of 18%. They were able to deliver faster compared to when they had not adopted the technologies or these strategies, and they were able to real time track any kind of disruptions which were happening across the supply chain. And finally, there was a less reliability on their entire suppliers, and there were very few stockouts which they were observing, right? So the learnings which we can take from this particular case study would be that you have to adopt technology because technology is something which comes at a very cheaper cost when compared to manpower, and also it can help you in better understand not just your own business but also the entire ecosystem where you are one of the player. Then secondly, if you are collaborating with your suppliers, then they will be able to help you with reliable inputs and reliable data for you to improve your value proposition. And finally, that if you are able to continuously improve and implement training across technology adoption or in terms of the processes which you are following, then there is scope for growth throughout the lifetime of your venture, right? So with this, we will open for any kinds of question and answers which you may have. Yeah. Anyone wants to ask any questions?
Okay, sir, there's a question chat box.
How should we move from idea to prototype stage with funding? Getting funding is a big challenge or burning our own cash.
नहीं ये
Okay.
नहीं है, लास्ट में है सर, ये स्वप्निल का है।
Okay.
बिल्डिंग मैं कॉपी दूं, कॉपी करूं सर वापस?
हाँ हाँ हाँ.
मैं आपको व्हाट्सएप कर देता हूँ। मैं व्हाट्सएप किया हुआ है आपको मैं क्वेश्चन।
Yeah, I think this question is not related to supply chain, but still I will answer that if you are at prototype stage, you can leverage many schemes from DST or from IT through any of the incubators, which is very close to you. You can leverage Tide 2.0 funding from IT, where you can get up to 7 lakhs of grant, and Nidhi Prayas is another scheme of DST where you can get up to 10 lakhs of grant for developing your prototype. And also you can leverage Genesis scheme. If you are a biotech startup, then you can also leverage BIREC schemes, which goes up to 50 lakhs. Yeah. Any other questions from the
Sir, in
participant?
case of perishable item, like I said before, also that it's very crucial to maintain the supply chain. So, like for the inventory basis, like, sir, what kind of software I can use and how I can integrate AI in that, and what will be the cost, like for doing all these things?
So you deal into perishable items?
Yes, sir. Peeled garlic,
What?
basically.
Sorry?
So one garlic is peeled, sir. Peeled garlic, it is used by the Horeca industry. So they don't
Okay.
need to sit and peel because it takes, entire day to peel just 1 kg of garlic. So basically we are dealing into that and we are supplying it to the Horeca industry. But the most important thing is the shelf life is hardly 2 days. So that is the reason somewhere, I'm not able to do it in a quantity basis because I'm not able to do the inventory control for that because sir, matlab, like just a 2 days inventory also, if it would have been, stopped for going for the distribution part, then it's very obvious that I'll be facing a huge loss.
So your customers where you are sending these garlic cloves, right? How are you packaging them?
Basically, sir, so right now I'm to the trading part. So packaging and all is already done by the third party. I just receive the quantity, right, on the order basis, and then I supply it to the customer. So right now I'm not into the manufacturing operations. But even if I'm doing the trading, so I need to take care of the, this thing, inventory management. But I'm not able to scale it because of this inventory issue. Because if, let's say, if I'll be having a hell lot of inventory and that's a perishable item, then obviously I may, like face a setback.
So there are many actually software solutions, right,
Okay.
for inventory management. Like Tally also provides solution for. I'm sure you are managing your books on some software.
Yeah.
So Tally also has a solution for stock management. Then Zoho also has its own inventory management software for small and medium businesses, right?
Okay.
So you can
Okay.
use these. These are well
Okay.
known in the industry. I'm sure you have heard about them. Then secondly, regarding, like I mentioned in my presentation also, that you need to collaborate with your other players who are in the ecosystem with you, who are supplying to you. So with
Okay.
them, you can share few of the solutions. Like there is one company which goes by the name of Fruvatech, right? So they provide solutions where you can store your fruits, vegetables, and even peeled fruits, and they help in increasing the shelf life itself. And they can improve the shelf life for up to 5 to 7 days. And they are already in the market. They are already providing these solutions, right? So you can check out this company, Fruvatech, right? I will type in the name of the company in the chat box. If you want to connect with them, you can reach out to me also. I can connect you with them. Then the second company, I am not sure if cold chain would help in improving the shelf life. But if cold chain is a challenge where you are looking for any very efficient and cost effective solution, then I have typed in the name of another company, McAfee, which deals in this,
Sir,
right?
I thought of setting up the cold chain, but it's actually costing huge. So I'm just
You
looking
can
for the
talk
other
to
option.
McAfee. They have very cost effective solutions, and Fruvatech has no energy solution. So
Okay.
without use of any energy, they have developed solutions which can help in improving the shelf life.
Okay. Fine.
Okay.
And sir, any chance to integrate AI with this
So
for a
AI can
better decision making?
Yes, yes, sure. So you can integrate AI. I am sure we have an expert, Mr. Ashwin Saxena, who
Right.
can
We
help
have, yes, exactly.
creating a customized kind of solution also using AI. But you'll have to first onboard your all data points on at least one software or one ERP, that your
Okay.
data is organized, where AI help you out in your stock
Okay.
management.
Fine. Thank you.
Ankit, sir, one more question, then chat box. I have tested you also.
Okay. Hello, sir. I am doing retail business in medicine, but I want this business to online. How it's help me? Which type of tools in supply chain help me? So any kind of ERP systems like Tele, SCM or Zoho, SCM, you can start using these to better maintain your inventory and manage your clients also. You can also generate invoices from these softwares. So I think somebody has asked for those scheme names also. So Tide 2.0 and yeah. Anyone else has a specific question? I will also mention the anti-counterfeit sticker company which I have mentioned. Transpax goes by the name of Checo. Yeah. Any other questions? Somebody has a very specific kind of problem. So for better road logistic solutions, if you're looking at, you can reach out to this company. Big Ship. Any other questions? I don't think we have any more questions.
Yes, sir. I think आज के क्लैट डाउट्स पूरे हो गए. अंकित सर, अभी 2 दिन और भी कंसेक्यूटिव डेज रहेंगे हम लोग के साथ में, तो यू कैन.
I think tomorrow I am not there.
Oh,
Unfortunately, I'll talk about that separately. I have been called to DPIIT tomorrow.
okay. That means that you will be available on the day after tomorrow.
I'll be there day after tomorrow for sure.
Okay, sure. Okay. So till then, you can think about it. What have you learned today, and you can think about it, and you frame the questions. We will again connect with you, Ankit sir, and we will do for tomorrow. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you everyone.
Thank you everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.